This was supposed to be a simple server upgrade. I'm Daniel, and this is Deep Networking. Let's figure this out. I bought the parts. I had a plan. Then I realized none of this was going to work. And that's how this became a 3-computer project. If you watch the first couple videos, you already know about Edroom. Yes, Edroom. I misspelled bedroom one time, and I guess that's my server name now. A coworker gave me this old A8 system after I said I wanted to get into home labbing, and honestly, it opened the floodgates. I installed Ubuntu server, Casa OS, Image, Jellyfin, and even a Valheim server. But then I hit the first real home lab milestone. I ran out of storage. Every SATA port was used, every power connector spoken for. No room left. Which is weirdly exciting, because it means my home server is doing server things. So naturally, I decided to make things worse. The case had these front bays just begging to be used. So, I bought this SATA controller. In this drive enclosure, which meant I had financially committed to this now. The plan was simple. Install the SATA card first, then wire in the drive cage, and enjoy my genius. That last part didn't happen. Uh-oh. That's not PCIe. What I thought was PCIe was actually just PCI, the older standard. There was a PCIe by one slot, but it was covered up by the GPU. And even if it wasn't, this card needs 4 lanes. So that's pretty sick. At this point, I'm in full panic mode. I'm checking every computer, every old motherboard. I had spent money, started recording, and accomplished nothing. So, next day at work, Buddy and I are pulling cable, and I tell him what happened. And I'm like, dude, I'm gonna have to buy a whole new motherboard, maybe a whole new system, just to use this stupid card. And he casually says, well, just take the GPU out. And I kind of laugh it off, like, yeah, okay, bud. So I kept working, pulling cable, trying not to think too much about how much money I had just wasted. Because, man, that feeling sucks. But then it hit me. The A8 has integrated graphics. I don't need the GPU in Edroom. I can free the slot. I can use the SATA card. I don't have to buy anything else, which is kind of a big deal. And I can't even explain how fast that went from this is a disaster to this could actually work. And I went from frustrated, kicking myself, to actually excited again. And that was the moment everything changed. So at this point, I think I have it figured out. Take the GPU out of Edroom, move the compute over to a different computer. Problem solved. And I figured I'd just use that old HP from work for my compute. But then I made a mistake. That HP has an i7 5930K, which didn't mean too much to me at that time. But then I started comparing it to my Ryzen system sitting right there. At first I thought, there's no way this thing is better. It was literally sitting in the back room at work collecting dust. It wasn't even plugged in. But then I kept looking. More cores, more threads, better performance. Wait a second. This thing is better than my PC. Like, not a little better, way better. And now I've got a totally different problem. Why am I not using this as my PC? So now the plan changes again. Edroom becomes the NAS, The Ryzen system becomes the compute node, and the HP becomes my new workstation. And suddenly, this is not a simple server upgrade anymore. This is a full homelab rebuild. Which is wild because I came into this just trying to add a few hard drives to my server. And now I'm rebuilding the entire lab. So in the next episode, we tear everything apart, move the data, swap the hardware, and try not to lose everything in the process. Because at the end of the day, it ain't gotta be pretty. It's just gotta work.